Okay. Okay, so we said we're going to try and say just a hakdama to what that daf is, so that the Olam can know whether they're going to be happy with the daf and stay on, or they could log off if they're not happy with what it says in the daf. Right? Okay, so no, so the Mishnah starts with all the person saying ani, right? And then we're going to talk about the Gemara is going to talk about Taikudei Dibur. Does it have to be Taikudei Dibur? Doesn't have to be Taikudei Dibur. And then the Gemara is going to have a clear when these guys are saying Amen, right? Because the Mishnah says that one guy said he's a Nazir, the next guy comes and says Amen, the next guy says it comes Amen. So the Gemara number Aleph, for the first part of Amar Aleph, is going to be trying to figure out, is the Taikudei Dibur, it says it has to be Taikudei Dibur, is it each one from the next, or they all have to be Taikudei Dibur from the first guy? Which means you're only going to get a couple of guys in to be able to say Amen. Meaning if the first guy says, I'm a Nazir, so then within 3 seconds, you have to have all the I'm in on that. Anybody that's going to say Ani has to be in on that, or as long as it's within, you could have a train, as long as, or dominoes, as long as it's each one saying Amen within 3 seconds of the other one, then they could all be Nazirs. So that's the Gemara tries to bring rayas back and forth with that.
If everything follows the guy before, why would the but follow the guy before also?
That's what we're saying.
We already said
that is the question.
But that's the answer also, isn't it? That we already said that it follows the guy before. If in other words, if number 5 we had in the Darb, number 5 is Mavatar or something, then 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10 fall off. But 1, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, and 4 stay on.
Correct.
So wouldn't the Taikudei Dibur, wouldn't that say
according
that
to that? According to that Gemara, then according to that, then it has to all be within Taikudei Dibur of the previous one. No? Yeah. But anyways, so that's that. When we do the Gemara, we'll discuss it. And then we'll try and discuss it. And then we said that there's a din on Amud Beis, there's a din of a Nazir, whether he, if a guy just says he's going to be similar to the Nazir, is he a Nazir or not? Right? And then we have declared that we did already in the Darim on Amud Beis, it's all going to be whether when a husband uproots and nullifies his wife's Nidarim, is it nullified from then and on, or does it go retroactive back so that everything that she did is not a problem, right? Like we had it a couple of blocks ago, meaning a woman becomes a Nazir and then she separates her korbanos, and then the husband comes and knocks out the Nazirus. So now, are those korbanos, do they have any kedusha to it? Do they not have any kedusha to it? Okay, so that's basically what's going to be on tonight's stuff. Okay, so Zakti Gemara, right? We're on Chaf Amud Beis. Yeah. Again, so with the Mishnah was talking about one person making himself a neder, and then people saying ani, and then it gets into a wife saying ani, etc., etc. Yeah. Fine. So Zakti Gemara. Oh, Naftali's here. We'll wait for him to settle in.
Oh, yeah, no, don't worry.
Okay.
I got disconnected when you answered.
So Yosef Reish Lakish came to Rabbi Yehuda. Reish Lakish was sitting in front of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya, right in front of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya. Right? That's not Rabbi Yehuda Anasi. He was the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Anasi. Yeah. But Yosef Akamar, he sat and said, all these guys that are saying, I'm a Nazir, I mean, the first guy says he's a Nazir, then another guy says, Ani, they all have to be Taikudei Dibur, right? The Kama Taikudei Dibur, how much is Taikudei Dibur? K'dei she'ela shalom, it's the amount of time that it takes to say shalom. The Kama K'dei she'ela shalom, and how much is she'ela shalom? K'dei she'omer shalom talmud l'rav. The way it says, shalom alecha Rebbe, right? basically he's saying it has to be within, I think the place can call it around 3 seconds. Shalom Aleichem, even though that's faster than 3 seconds, no?
No, Shalom Aleichem Rebbe.
Shalom Aleichem Rebbe, that is Rebbe Yomairi.
The 3 seconds is Rabbi Yomairi.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Shalom
So-
Aleichem
We'll say between
Rebbe. Yeah, 3 seconds.
Takes
What'd
me
he
an
say?
hour and a half to say hello to my Rebbe. It takes me 85,
Okay.
85 minutes about Chana.
Yeah,
More in brachos. We had this in brachos.
correct. Yes, it is a sugis, and these are all sugis. So again, we had it in the end of the Dharam also, right? Remember that Shol Shada was this whole thing of Zamachlaikis Rishainim is Taikadei Dibur Deraisa or Derabana, right? Meaning is the din is this din that you have Taikadei Dibur, is that a Deraisa or Derabana? Because if it's a Derabanan, then we said the some cipher had a kasha, it's a Derabanan. So you're saying that something has to be Taikadei Dibur, and if it's Taikadei Dibur, it's as if it's said instantly, and then you're making this guy into a Nazir, and then he's bringing Karbanas. How can the Rabbanan say, oh, Midrabbanan, you're a Nazir, and then you go bringing Karbanas into the Beis HaMikdash, right? If Minatayra, you don't say Taikadei Dibur, so then you're bringing Kachim Bechutz, right? Okay, there's different ways to learn that. Either way, but once we're on the Taikadei Dibur, because we were just learning this in the Kitzur, you got to make sure that when you're answering Amen to somebody's bracha, that has to be Taikadei Dibur, right? If you wait Taikadei Dibur, and then you want to answer Amen, that's a no-go, right? That's why we just discussed it, but that's why if you want to answer Amen over a phone or over a Zoom, if there's a delay of more than Taikadei Dibur, then you can't answer Amen. So I don't know how you know exactly on Zoom that there's no delay, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, so the Shulchan
Yeah.
Alexandria, when they waved all those flags, didn't it create like a chain reaction? Were people able to see from the flag from the back all the way to the front, or did they have to wave at different points?
I always understood it that they were able to see it, but I have no idea if that's true or not.
Because then there's a delayed reaction over there as well.
Correct, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I thought they would be able to see the flag, so they all answer Amen. And then isn't in yeshivas Akiva? No, don't yeshivas have like this pause, especially in Yom Naraim? Like the chazan finishes, and then there's like this fraction of a second, and then they answer.
Well, that's why coming.
Right?
Well, what about the Baal Kaireh that decides to do Amen like separately? He waits for everyone to do Amen, then he does Amen, and then he starts.
No, so that's you're right.
Amen Yisayma.
If it's more than Taikadei Dibur, you're 100% right.
What's Taikadei Dibur already? A second and a half.
Although there are those that say that as long as it's going to get into this Gemara, as long as you're within Taikadei Dibur of somebody else answering Amen, so you could have the domino effect.
You're saying,
right?
Yeah, and you can continue doing that.
There are those that say that. I don't remember.
Similar to the Chazon Ish, Lagabe Tzilah B'Tzibur.
If that's exactly what the Chazon Ish meant, but yeah. Anyways, okay, good. So that's what is Taikadei Dibur. So that was the sheet of Reish Lakish. Amar Lei, so yehuda Nasiya told him, Tov lo shavakt Ravcha l'Talmida. Now you haven't left any space for the Talmud, which is quite an interesting. Basically saying, well, what happens if punkt when this guy says he's a Nazir? The other guy wants to say ani, but his Rebbe walks by, right? And now he has to say Shalom Aleichem to his Rebbe. So now he can't say ani to the guy making himself a Nazir because his time passed. So Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is saying to him, why can't that guy do it? So basically, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is essentially adding on another second. And he's saying we have to be concerned for this guy missing out on saying ani. So we give him 4 seconds. Let's call it 4 seconds. All right. So it's basically machlokes, Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yehuda, whether you're giving him 3 seconds or 4 seconds. Yeah. Fine. So Tanya on Talmud Aleph, Nechafal Talmud Aleph, so Tanya Yami Hachi, Misham already knows it. So now this Tanya Yami Hachi is also controversial. who is this Tani Nami? Who's this braysa for? So Tosfos says it's for Reish Lakish that it's only 3 seconds, right? So Misha Amar Areni Nazir. If somebody says he's a Nazir, and his friend was waiting there, and he waited. He waited. Who Asar Mutter? He's a Nazir, but his friend is not. Why? Because he missed Tachidei Dibur. It's a Sheila Shalom of a Talmud L'Rav, right? So why is this like Rish Lakish? Because that's clear that he says as long as it's within the Talmud L'Rav time, then it's okay. And Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya would hold you even get a second after that, right? In case punct when the guy said he's a Nazir, the other guy came and Rebbe walked by him and he said Shalom Aleichem Rebbe, and then he wasn't able to say it.
Mashiach, what does Shaila Shalom mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
To give shalom.
It's not asking, it's saying.
So it's interesting that it's called Sheila Shalom, right? But it doesn't seem like that. It's more like you're wishing. Shalom Aleichem, right? I mean, it comes in again another thing. What do you call it? An oval, right? What's Sheila Shalom to an oval, right? So, because Avelim, they don't say hello, which Reb Hillel David told me. He says he doesn't understand why you can't say hello. Hello is not a Sheila Shalom. Hello is just an acknowledgement to talk, right? Hello is allowing person on the other end to know that you're there, like talk, right? It's like picking up the phone and saying talk. No, there's no Sheila Shalom there. But anyways, okay. But then you get into a different thing with the Rishonim get into, which is you're not really allowed to ask your Rebbe how he's doing, right?
So that's what I'm saying. It's okay.
Right? No, the whole wishing of Rebbe, you see how he's doing. You're not supposed to.
Why?
Because it's a lack of cover. Again, there's different ways of learning exactly. I don't remember now offhand, but there's different ways of whether you can, you can't, how you can do it in a respectful way. He's not your friend, right? So whatever. Anyways,
Trouble.
yeah. So Leimer say, well, nowadays the whole thing is, you see these guys talking to the Rebbeim, they put their hand around their Rebbe, all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Shlomo used to use that as an example. He said the way they talk. Well, I'm not going to say Robert Pelkowitz. He say if any push cart peddler from Blake Avenue saw somebody touch Rav Telushkin, they would throw the guy out the window.
Right. Yeah, that's the way it is now. You put your hand, on the rabbi or whatever. Yeah. Anyways, okay. There's let's say it's a riot to this. Misha Amar Hareni Nazir. The guy says, I'm a Nazir. And his friend says, Va'ani. And then another one says, Va'ani, Vesuloi. And that's it. Meaning the Mishnah says, what's the case in the Mishnah? Mishnah says, a guy says he's a Nazir. And then the Mishnah says there's a Va'ani. And then there's another Va'ani. 2. So that's mashma. That's all you get for Sulai. You don't get a third guy. So Va'ani and Va'ani, right? And that's it. So you see, that's l'chayr like Rish Lakish, not like Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya. So Gemara says that's not a raya. Tana ki ruchla l'chashiv eleizel. What do you think the Tana is? Some sort of from the word rechilas, right? Rechilas means that you go, shooting your mouth off. So what do you think the Tana is? It really means a peddler. Ki ruchla l'chashiv eleizel. You think the Mishnah is a peddler? It has to go through every single scenario. You figure it out for yourself. If 2 guys say Va'ani, Va'ani, so a third guy could also say Va'ani. The Mishnah doesn't have to say it, right?
What can you say v'chulu in the Mishnah?
Why can't they say v'chulu? I guess that's also extra. It's also extra.
But how are you supposed to know it didn't stop at 2?
What?
How are you supposed to know it
What he's saying is not a raya. He's saying it's not a raya. It's not a raya that's only 2, right? So when it says v'lisni chad v'lishmin and hani, if that's the case, so why do 2? See, I've told that in your kasha, right? Why say 2 anis? Say 1, and then I'll know that there's more, right? So when it says hachanami, yeah, that's true. But the reason why I needed to say 2 anis is mishum de katani sefer, because the sefer says hutar arisha and hutar kulan. right? Naftali's favorite Gemara. If the first guy is matir neder, then they all go matir. They all become automatically mutter. Putter achron, but if the last guy is matir, then only the last guy achron mutter v'kulan asuran. They're all asur. Now who's the kulan? If it only said one ani, who's the kulan? Mechlal dikem tzai. So that's masha that there's a middle ani. So mashum hachi katani vani vani. So that's why it said ani vani. Again, really, it only had to say one ani, and then we would have known that it's any guy that comes along, Taikutei Dibur, and says ani, he's also going to be a nazir, right? But the reason why I needed to say two anis is because the Sefer says that if the last guy is matir neder, then the guys before him still have to keep naziris. So what guys before him? If it only said one ani, so even though you should have known it, but it just wanted to say ani just to let you know that there's a middle guy. Too, right? Which again, I don't understand this whole sugi, but don't pardon my ignorance. But what is the big deal if the guy can't say ani? So then all he has to do is say, "Oh, I missed the Targutei Dibur. So okay, so I'll make myself a nazir right now. I'm a nazir, right? Is that too simple a question? Saying we're making a sugar about him saying ani? What is it, like a shirayim? Like he wants to
because the Rebbe. The Rebbe was the one who became a Nazir. So if he couldn't become part of the Rebbe's years, you don't want to be a Nazir.
Right. That's what Mamish I thought. Like that's what it is. It's like there's this thing to be in bid for saying the ani on the Rebbe's Naziris.
Herd mentality is always stronger, right?
It's a herd mentality, good, but if you miss the boat, so you'll say it yourself. Elamai. It's not like that. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be Taylor on the Mishnah on your Dalit?
The what?
That does Va'ani mean and I am like him, or mean whatever he does, I'm copying?
Well,
I'm doing my own thing. That's over there.
No, this Gemara is assuming. This Gemara is assuming that you're going with the ani is what do you call it? Right?
Wasn't that a teiku over there? The difference between Va'alai and Va'ani. More ended up that was a teiku.
No, but I'm saying we're going with the tzad here that ani means that he is a nazir. Right?
Yeah, it means he's a nazir, but the dinim of the first guy are my own dinim.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
There was a chilik, yeah.
Oh, you want to say maybe that's enough kamina? I hear.
That's
I like the terms. That's very good. That's very good, Taka. Gershon is saying that if you're a nazir with ani, also maybe if he's matir the neder, right? If he's matir the neder, then you get off, right? Or there's different types of nazir. So if you say vani, then you're like the nazir that he made himself. But if not. Okay, there you go, Baruch Hashem. Fine. I'm happy I brought it up. I wasn't even going to bring it up. I thought it was such a dumb question. All right. So I want to start. I mean, maybe Bez Hashem, everybody should be well. The next round of Daf Yomi, I want to put out a Daf Yomi for dummies, like all the dumb questions that you're embarrassed to ask that we just learned in Shara Emes, and that just like on each daf, like, hey, this is the dumb questions that.
Should have the dumb question of the daf. Like,
right.
Why are there dumb questions? Why are there
like
dumb questions? They're all good questions.
No, it's true, but I'm just saying, like something.
Yeah, there's no
so
such
obvious.
thing as a bad question.
Well,
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you don't understand, you ask a question.
No,
It's
but
not a bad
sometimes
one.
it's so
No,
obvious.
Vada,
Like, why is
Vada.
nobody right? Sometimes it's like things so obvious. Like, what am I missing here? What is going on here?
Yesterday.
Right. Yeah, every daf, it's like that. There's
I
something.
mean, that's every line.
Yeah, it could be. That's so good and economy. So to make a peerish dummy.
Isn't that what art scroll is? You got all the English there.
No, they make it. I don't know. They seem to. I don't know. I'm talking about like a more dumbed down, like
The daf for dummies, like
yes, yeah, exactly that. Anyways, okay. Whatever.
Now I'm a little bit embarrassed. I think parrots would say that every single question I've ever asked is a dumb question.
that's not true. They're just too long.
I don't say they're dumb questions.
They're
They're
just
just not
too long.
appropriate for the time. It's the time and the place for everything.
There you go, parrots. You sound like a true grandmother right there.
No, Gershon, he has. There was one thing you asked in Shabbos Ayin Bays, Omid Bays, near the middle Tosfos. He liked that one. That was it so far.
And you can go to the videotape and see that. That's a
Byron, I thought it was by the 2 dots, but okay, fine. You wanna go with-
Because
Yeah.
not every Yomid has, every Gemara has the Tosfos. They don't have the Tzvei Pintelach. You're probably right, but maybe,
Okay, good.
It's interesting you say that because in tomorrow's daf, some Gemaras have 2 dots and some don't in one of the Gemaras. Okay, well, hopefully we'll remember to discuss that. Ibailus, now we got a freebie.
Jacob, you
on the
think me
next-
and Byron didn't know that when we were making the jokes?
I'm sure you did. I'm sorry. I'm sure you did.
So
I'm
if
sure
I
you
ask
did.
why some have 2 dots and why some don't, is that a dumb question?
No, it's a good question.
oh,
It's a good-
you're David, you're still, can I hurry? You're over 50, but you're still too young to not find that out.
Okay.
Pintel Yid, then we could start with that. Okay, Ibailu. So they asked the Shaila, yeah? Chad bechavre mitzvahs, I dilma bekama mitzvahsi. This is the Shaila that we discussed, meaning, is it chad bechavre mitzvahs? One goes with his friend, right? Meaning, you have, let's go with Ruvain. Ruvain says he's a Nazir, or the Rebbe. The Rebbe says he's a Nazir, right? Then Chassid number 1 says Ani. And then Chassid number 2 says Ani. As long as that Chassid number 1 is, Chassid number 2 is within Tarki Deidimur of 1, we can make a train. And that's what Akiva was saying, that they say B'Shem the Chazanish, that as long as there's somebody still davening Shemaina Esrei, and then somebody else starts Shemaina Esrei, then you're sort of, it's a domino effect, and that's called Tefillah B'Tzibur. So theoretically, you can be davening in the White Shul at 11 o'clock. If you had guys, the guys that keep coming in late, you can be called Tefillah B'Tzibur. So we could stretch it with one, right? So the same thing the Gemara is saying here, that as long as you're in Taikadei Dibur from the guy before you, you can keep stretching it. No, they're going on the first guy. They're all going on the first guy. So it means you're really only going to have three yeses per Naziris, right? Okay, l'maynaf gemina. Latfusa, like we just said, latfusa umezel, to keep going, to grab, literally the taichas, to grab and go. If you say one is going with his friend, you can go forever. You can keep making this Naziris forever, as long as each guy is within Torah Dibur of the previous guy. But if you say that it's only the first guy, more than Kedei Dibur, you can't go. So what's the din? Now the obvious question here, here's another obvious question, but this already they discussed. Didn't the Gemara just discuss this? The Gemara just discussed this, right? That essentially was what the Gemara wanted to bring a raya from our Mishnah, right? So I mean, it seems like what we're saying is it's just dumb. This was a shaila that the Gemara had, whether the previous Gemara, which is essentially the same thing, and it's going to repeat itself right now, was about trying to bring a raya to one of those opinions, right? But here the Gemara is just asking a question: how taka do we look at this each friend saying ani? So that's basically what that's what they say. So Toshma Reni knows if Shama Chaver Vani, right? A friend here he says,
isn't there a simple nafkamina if you do shayla on the middle guy?
If you do shayla on the middle guy, well, I mean, if you ask it back,
meaning if the middle guy does shayla's chacham,
right?
So if you say it's totally the first guy, or if you say everyone is telling the first guy, then the last guy is not going to necessarily
go
mounted from that because he's going back to the first guy. So why don't you say that's the question?
So that's really the Gemara does say that. I think that's what.
But why does the Gemara it feeds into what you just said before? Why does the Gemara go back to what we said? That's a much simpler nafkamina. Right. If you're telling the first guy and the middle guy gets the sheilas chacham, so then the last guy is not going to be necessarily going to have a sheilah on his.
No, I thought that's what the Gemara meant.
The Gemara is saying right now it's a question of how many people.
Now I'm saying in the maskana.
I mean, the Toshmas are not, or what's it called?
Right. No, I hear
this first var, not this first nafkamina.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying. I hear. But maybe, I don't know, maybe, let's get to the teretz. Maybe that'll answer it. I don't know. But either way, so Gemara is saying, so again, Toshma, Reni knows B'Shama Chavere, B'Amar Vani, and then another friend says Vani, V'Sulay Midi, and there's no more. The Mishnah only says two Vanis. So Shmami no B'Kamahu the mitzvah says. So we're only going off the first guy's Naziris. These are the Chad B'Chavre mitzvahs. If you're going to say that each one grabs onto the other one, so listen to Vani. So why don't you just say as many Vanis as you want? I mean, you could say as many as you could say, not as many as you want, but you could say many Anis. So the Gemara says, again, this is just a repeat of the previous Gemara. Tana ki rochlu lichashav elazal. You want the Tana to be like a rechilos, a reichel, a peddler that just shoots his mouth off for no reason. Why does the Gemara? Why would the Mishnah have to say Vani, Vani, Vani? Just the Mishnah says two of them, and you should understand that it means unlimited. So the Gemara asks, well, so why you say two Vanis? If you're saying the Mishnah is just saying the minimum amount, and you learn out from that, so just say one Vani. What do you have to say two Vanis? So my answer is, I did Katani Hutter Rishon. Sorry, I did Katani Hutter Rishon. Hutru Kulon, since in the end it says if you were mater, if the first one was mater neder, so then and he's no longer a nazir, so Hutru Kulon, since they said yes, so therefore they're all going back on his nazirus, and his nazirus became mutter, so Hutter Achron, so then the last guy also becomes mutter. But Achron mutter, I'm sorry, Hutru Kulon. I did a run-on sentence. I did the Katani Hutter Arishan Hutru Kulon. Since the first guy was mater is neder, he's no longer a nazir, so the rest of them follow behind because they all said ani. Hutter Achron, but if the last guy is mater, his nazirus, Achron mutter, only he's mutter. But Kulon Asur, and the other ones are asur because they have nothing to do with him. He was the last guy to say amen. So there must be a middle guy here. So that's why, since it's clear from the Sefer that there's a middleman here, meaning there's a third guy saying Vani, so therefore we said, yeah, Vani, we said Vani twice. Fine. Now the Gemara brings three
Why
rayas.
isn't this an automatic raya the other way?
Because it's lav dafka.
But it isn't lav dafka. You have Achron and Kulam.
Right.
That's the words of the Sefer. So you have more than two.
Yeah, but you don't know, it's not a proof in one way or the other. It's just lav dafka.
But I automatically have at least three going on here. If I can't have more than two with the first way, I have three.
Correct.
So it must be kulam b'chaveram, not kulam b'kama.
No, because three could fit.
That's not what the Gemara said. The Gemara's Havamina was that only two fit.
No, so it's two plus the nazir.
No, that's not kulam then. Kulam means all the ones besides the first guy. The first guy is klar. There's no shaila on the first guy.
Correct.
So it's achroin the kulam means there's at least three after the first guy.
No, the first guy is the nazir. First guy is the nazir. He matters, right, and the other two are going to follow behind. The third guy matters. The middle guy doesn't fall. You're saying from the Walashon kulan. Why say kulan?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying something else. Okay.
Oh, is that not? Oh, I misunderstood the Gemara. I thought that's what the Gemara was saying.
No, I don't think that's what the Gemara is saying. No.
I thought the kulan automatically means more than two.
Oh, I didn't learn it like that.
But mainly you have four in this story.
I hear. Okay, I didn't learn like that. Okay, so the Gemara tries to bring three rayas. So Toshima, Hutter Rishon, Hutru Kulon. Mashma that the first one is mutter, so then, or not mashma, but Hutter Rishon, Hutru Kulon. If the first one's mater neder, he's no longer a nazir, so then they all follow behind and they're all mutter. Rishon hu desharu ha'emtzai loy. It says the first guy is the first guy becomes mutter, right? But if the middle guy is mater his neder, then not, right? Meaning it doesn't affect anybody else. Shema mino become a matfisin. It must be that we go with the first guy, meaning they're all going back on the first guy, right? Meaning if the guy, they're always working off the one before them, so then if the middle guy is matir is neder, then the guy that comes after him should become also mutter. And the Gemara is not mashma like that. The Gemara says only the first guy does it, then they all follow behind. But if the middle guy's matir is neder, then the one that came after him doesn't become mutter. So it must be that they're all going on the first guy, and that's it. So Gemara answers, that's not a raya. Everybody's going off the guy that went before him. That since we wanted to say hutru kulon, the itana emtzai, ika rishon deloy mystery, because if you're just going to say just emtzai instead of kulon, which could be this is what you were saying before Gershon, ika rishon deloy mystery, then you have the first guy who's not going to become mutter. So mishamachik tani rishon. That's why it said rishon, meaning the Gemara didn't want to say. Again, for clarity purposes, with the next case, the Gemara didn't want to say the middle guy. It said kulon because if you would just say emtzai, then you're going to run into problems understanding what happens with the first guy. So therefore, use a lashon of kulon. Okay, second raya toshima hutara achron. It says if the last guy matters his nazirus achron mutar kulon asuran. Right. So the Acharon is mutter, everybody else is still usher because he was last. The loy ikachrina basrei, because there's nobody that comes after him. Avalam tzai, the ikachrina basrei, but the middle guy, who does have a guy after him, mishteri, he's going to be mutter. Shmamino chad b'chavri matter. So you see that each one goes with his friend, meaning, and they're not all going on the first nazir. Right, so one answers no. No, they go with the first guy. What does it mean? Acharon emtzai. That when it says acharon, it doesn't mean the last guy. It means the middle guy. But since the Mishnah in the first case said rishon, so it says acharon here, right? And again, in order for that, the Mishnah should be all set up in the proper way. But really, it means it's the acharon does not mean specifically the last guy. It's even the middle guy. If the middle guy is matir his neder, then the third guy is going to automatically be mutter too. Fine.
Yeah, I just want to point out that the entire Mishnah at this point is lav dafka.
That is true, Akiva. That is a good point. Yeah, that's exactly.
Is this only Nazir that makes the whole Mishnah
I don't
lav
know.
dafka? Does Nazir make the Mishnah shver also?
It's very interesting. I don't know.
You missed last night. That's what you wanted to write from last night, no?
Well, we quoted Akiva last night. We quoted Akiva last night, even though he wasn't there. But to tell that,
because the Rush said last night that Nazir is different, like Nadar.
No, I know. It says that Taishi says it in a few places also. I'm just saying the Gemara itself is saying the Mishnah. It's just a funny thing that the Gemara is saying the whole Mishnah is lav dafka at this point.
Right, and it's giving more of a priority and being symmetrical, right?
And we're learning nothing from the usually it's the opposite. But to say lav dafka is one prat. Here, almost every prat of the Mishnah is lav dafka, meaning you learn almost nothing from the diukum of the Mishnah.
Right. Yeah, that's that's exactly what it's. That's Nazir and Adorim. Yeah, third raya Toshima the Tanya behedya. Here, see, it's interesting. Here it says the Tanya behedya. No diukum necessary here. Hutter Rishon, if the first guy's matir is neder, Hutru Kulon, they all follow behind. Hutru Achron, if the Achron's mutter, Achron mutter, Kulon Asurin, and all the guys that came before him are also. Hutter Emtzai, if the middle guy is matir is Nazirus, Heimenu Ulamata, mutter, anybody from him and down is going to be mutter, because they're all coming off of him. Heimenu Ulamala, but from him and up, meaning going back towards the original Nazir, Asr is Asr Shmamino, Chad B'Chavre Matfis. So you see very clearly that each one is going based on the Nazirus from the guy before him. Shmamino. So that's what it is.
But according to the beginning, 5 questions ago,
Yeah.
Ani, the second guy, and if he's Teich Kedei Dibur from the first guy, who said it's going on? The third guy, who said it's going? The second guy, who said it's going on the first guy? Maybe it's going on the original. You had 1, 2, and you had the original. You had 1 and 2.
Right.
If the second guy had to be Torch Kedei Dibur from the original,
It doesn't have to be.
but according to my name, he does.
Okay, according, yeah. So what about it?
So who said his? If the second guy is the first guy's is Mataneder, why does
Right.
his fall off? Maybe he's going on the original. Maybe his Ani was going on the original.
Well, it could be it is, but we don't say that. We say he's going on the second, the guy before him. We always say the guy's on the guy before him.
So then, what do you have to be talking to for the original?
You don't. What do you mean?
What Maniam said
Yes.
you do.
You always have to be. Everybody has to be talking to Dibur
From
from.
the guy before him.
That's the other man, though.
But the Maniam that says you have to be talking to the original.
Yeah. What about it?
So if the first guy is Martin why does the second guy fall off? Maybe he's on
Because
the original.
He is on it. It does fall. Anybody. If the first guy's Martin, they
First
all
guy's
fall off.
So you have 1, 2, and 3. You have one
Yes.
guy that said it, and 2 guys that said Ani.
Right.
The second guy that said Ani.
Yeah.
The first guy that said Ani is Martin.
Correct. They all fall
Why does
off
the second guy fall off?
because he said Amen to the first guy.
He said, but his Ani was Turkey they were from the original. Here, you have the original. I'm a Nazir.
Right.
Ani and Ani.
Right.
This one right here says I'm Martin. This
Right.
one falls off. Why? Maybe this one's connected to the first, not the original, not the first.
Either way, whoever's in, if the guy ahead of him says he's no longer a Nazir, anybody after him is out.
But why is it this guy connected to this guy and leave this guy out?
Well, you
It was
want to
Turkey
jump a
Dibur.
guy?
Yeah, it's Turkey the Dibur.
But still, the guy in front of him, I mean, because the original guy didn't matter it.
Right.
Yeah, but we're saying he means the Ani, he means on the guy before him. That's what he
So
says.
then why does it have to be? What is the man the Holder? It has to be Turkey Dibur to the original.
Because he has to have them. What's the connection to it? Nobody ever
No, it has
said
to
they're
be
a
Turkey Dibur
Nazir.
to the original.
Correct.
The third guy is being Turkey Dibur to the original.
I understand the third guy's be talking to, but it doesn't make a difference. It only goes with the second guy.
Okay.
No, that's
You're using both sides.
yeah. That's what I think.
Lamaskana, there are 2 mandamrim.
I mean, there's a machlokes. So we paskin that it goes. We're saying the braysa clearly says like the one that each one's going with the guy before it. Right?
The original machlokes after the mission, or Shlakish and Yehuda Nasiya. That machlokes isn't just about how long a Turkey Dibur is.
That is. Oh, that original machlokes. Yeah, we have that. That machlokes is on top of this or before this.
Right.
That's just the machlokes how long Turkey Dibur is. Yeah.
So who's this machlokes? Who are the 2 mandamrim?
Well, that's the second iboilu. That's the Gemara's asking. How does it work?
Yeah, but the Maskana, there's only one. Doesn't the
Yeah.
Gemara paskin here that there's no
only one.
mandamrim that says bekama?
Well, there is a manda omar. It's just, I guess there's no manda. You want to say there's no manda omar? Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, weiter. Hareni Nazir v'shoma chaveir v'amar pi kipiv v'sari kasara. Right? So he uses an interesting terminology. He says, this guy says he's a Nazir, and then the friend hears and says, my mouth is like his mouth and my hair is like his hair. And so he's a Nazir, the Mishnah says. The Gemara says, Mishum da'amar pi kipiv v'sari kasara harei Nazir. Just because a guy says my mouth is like his mouth and my hair is like his hair, that makes him into a Nazir? What does one have to do with the other?
The guy just said he's a Nazir.
He said he's a Nazir. So my mouth is like him, my mouth is his mouth, and my hair is like his hair. So
But that's what a Nazir is, not
What?
eating wine and
so
growing hair.
that doesn't have to do with the mouth. I mean, it has to do with the mouth. It has to do with the mouth. But it doesn't, I could be like his mouth that I want to talk Lashon Hara like him. I don't know. Right? So Gemara says, or Minol, ask you a kasha. Yadei Nazira v'ragli, Yadei Nazira v'ragli Nazir. If a guy says my hand is a Nazir and my foot is a Nazir, Lo Yomar Klum, he didn't say anything, right? Rosh Nazira, and Kvedi Nazira, he says my head is a Nazir, or my, what do you call it, the kaveh, the liver is a Nazir, Hareza a Nazir. Then he is a Nazir, right? Why? Ze'aklal, the rule is, Davar she'nashama tluya by Hareza Nazir. If you say that a part of your body that's indispensable is a Nazir, so then it's a Nazir, right? So saying your hand, the hand is not dispensable, and the foot is also, you can live without a hand, you can live without a foot, right? And but you can't live without a head and you can't live without a liver. So if a guy says that his head and his liver is going to be a nazir, so then it's then he becomes a nazir. But saying mouth and hair, you could live without a mouth, you could live without hair.
It kind of answers up your question of saying, like, big deal, the guy missed the Va'ani, so why doesn't he just say, okay, now I'm nazir? It's not so simple. You got to say the right thing.
That's if he's piggybacking, but he could also make his own.
No, I'm saying to make your own, it's not so simple. You got to have to know what to say, where to say, how to say. It's a lot easier saying Va'ani.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay, maybe that's a teretz. Yeah.
Is this kaved example specific because of alcohol?
Oh, very good. I don't know. So anyway, so that's the kasha. So then why should he say his hair or his mouth is a nazir? So Amar Rav Yehuda Damar Hachi Yasa Pi Kipiv Miyayin. What he meant, this I don't know if Naphtali meant this, but when he said I'm going to make my mouth like his mouth, he meant from Yayin. Vasari Kasara Milogus. When I said my hair is like his hair, I'm not going to cut it. That's what he meant. So that's why he's a nazir. Fine. Next case, so we said, right, a very interesting lumdus. The husband says he's a nazir. She hears and she says she also wants to be a nazir. He cannot be made for her nazirus. Why not? Because it always goes with the first guy, right? It always goes with the first guy. So who said they're a nazir? The husband.
No,
then the wife says, she says, Ani.
The wife said.
No. What?
The wife said Nazirus.
I'm sorry, you're right. I said thank you. I said it wrong. I said it opposite. She says she's a Nazira. The husband says that he's also. And then now what's going to happen if she's matter her Nazirus? So he automatically gets off. Right? If she goes to a rabbi who's matter Nazirus, he automatically gets off, right? Because his whole thing is based on her. So now, normally a husband's allowed to be made for a nezer, but he's not allowed to be made for his own nedarim. So how can he go be made for his wife's nazirus? Then that means automatically his nazirus is off, in which case he's being matter, his own nazirus, right? So therefore he's not able to be made for it. So Gemara asks, Baal miyakar akar or duma megas gayas, right? So we had this in the darim, and we had this a few blot ago also. So miyakar akar means it's totally uprooted. Or do we say that it's cut up? Meaning, let's say a woman says that she's a nazir, and the husband on day 15 of the nazirus finds out about it, and he says, she's not a nazir, and he matters it. What's with day 1 to 15? Was she a nazir for that, or do we say, that's one side that she is a nazir for that, and he knocks it off from day 15 and on, or do we say that he's retroactive? So me'akaraka means it's retroactive, and she never was a nazira.
Is this the same machlokes we have in a darim with the father and the husband, their relationship?
That's where we had the machlokes. Right. Correct. Yes, very good. Yes, I think Naftali likes the darim and nazir. Yeah. Okay.
With small block.
So l'may nafkamina, what's the difference? So what would be the practical difference? L'isha shenadr ben-nazir. A woman, she made a neder that she's a nazir b'shama chaverta, and her friend heard va'amra va'ani, and her friend heard she also wants to be b'shama ba'ila shal rishayna. Then the original one hears about it v'hafarla, and he's made for it. So if you say that it's totally uprooted, so then the second woman also becomes mutter. Mega's guy is so his wife is matter b'chaverta asira. But the friend is aser, right? Why? Because the Maisa, her Nazirus wasn't retroactively knocked out. It was only knocked out from now and on, right? So therefore...
So Yaakov, how do you ever have... I'm not having this Megas guy is, if you're... didn't we always say you can't have a Nazira l'chatzoyin?
Yes.
So what does that mean that you could have Naziris for 15 days and then it all of a sudden, boom, stops, pause?
No, because let's say she was mafresh a carbon, which we're going to see. Let's say she was mafresh a carbon. So then what's going to be then? Is that carbon anything or not? You're right. You can't do Naziris l'chatzar. But if she already was, then what do we can't, the shilas, we can't just do away with it. Meaning l'chatchila, there's no Naziris l'chatzar. But do we have to be chayshir at least for anything that happened there?
I understand that, but the reality is that mitzad or a friend, you can't say it's a real Nazirus for 15 days. I don't understand the svar of it. That you
Well, also you have the rush. The rush says another nafkamina, right? Let's say she drank wine, and then right, or if she became tummy, right? So now, if you say megas gaius, she did something wrong. If you say me'akaraka lemafreya, she didn't do anything wrong, right?
No, I
She just got
understand,
free.
but I don't understand the svar. I understand what we're saying here, but if you hold the svar that there's no such thing as Nazirus l'chatzayim, how could you have the svar that it's a megas gaius? You're saying that you're able to stop Nazirus halfway through.
Right. So
how is that possibly misvar?
So I think right. So I think in a b'diavad situation you could have it. In the l'chatchila you can't.
Well, you can't make Nazirus l'chatzayim be a side.
Right.
In the longest you can't make Nazirus l'chatzayim. So make a case to say a svar megas gaius.
Because you made a legitimate Nazirus, but then it got cut off halfway through.
But if that doesn't work, that's not how Nazirus works. You can't say Nazirus cuts off.
It doesn't work like that lechatchila, but b'diavad, it could work like that.
No, it would work that it's me'aker. That's how gufa how you're iker. All or nothing. You can't say if you're able to do sheila, that means you're me'aker. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Okay. I listen.
Not b'diavad. The Torah says if a nazir becomes tummy 15 days in, he has to bring karbanos.
Okay.
That means there was a Nazirus chal for those 15 days, but he has to start again.
Right, because that's what the Torah says. But mitzad me'akar, that's a different din. That is nothing that the Torah establishes. If you lose your days. It's not because Nazirus l'chatzayim. And the Torah is not saying Nazirus l'chatzayim. The Torah is saying you lose your days. That's what happens when you become tamei.
It's the same thing. When the baal's made for it, day 15, you lose your days.
That's not the din of yiblu liyamim. You're bringing one pasuk that has nothing to do with sheilas chacham.
Well, okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but clearly, I mean, that's the only way to learn megas guy is that in a b'diavad situation.
I'm saying I don't understand that side. That's all. I'm
saying,
okay,
I understand.
If you hold up this year's l'chatzayim, how do we have the tzad? That's what I'm
right. Okay, I hear. Okay, good. So Tashima. If anybody's getting a thing that it's late, we have tomorrow's daf is very short. So Tashima, Hareini Nazira. So whenever we bring 3 rayas, again 3 rayas. 3 seems to be like the number over here. Right? Tashima, Hareini Nazira, Bashama Baila. She says she's a Nazira, and the husband hears Va'ani, and he says me. Ain't a offer. He's not able to be made for it. Oh, the Isaac the Baal Megas guy is if you say that the Baal just cuts it up, meaning her original Naziris is still standing, lay for the Ishtai. Let him be made for his wife, for Hulitz, and he's going to become usher, just like we just said in the previous Gemara, right? That if you say Mega's guy is, then the second woman is her Nazirah stands because the original Nazirah is still there. So it must be that the Baal is totally accurate. Again, if you say Mega's guy is, so then her original Nazirah stands for the first, using our example, 15 days till the husband hears about it and then it nullifies it, right? So the first 15 days it stands. So any lady that said ani is going back on her, and since her original zero stands, so then they're all chayav to be a nazir. So saying that we should say the same by the husband himself. Why does the Mishnah say that if she says she's a nazir and he says va'ani, he can't be made for it? He should be able to be made for it. So Gemara says no, lo megas guy is really it is megas guy is, but then who delay for love, and really he should be made for it. By the time the loy motzi mefer, keeping the amar Allah va'ani. This Naftali Muhammad did this yesterday. Since he said va'ani, command the amar kayim leichidami. When he says va'ani, so obviously he's approving of his wife's nazirus. Otherwise, why was he saying? He's saying me too, right? So once he approves it, so then if he asks back on his hakama, meaning the husband, when he supports his wife's nether, he has the option of asking the chachamim back for his being makayim her nether, in which case then he could be made for it. But if he's not, then he can't be made for it because meaning if he didn't ask back for his kiyum, because since she is Mega's guy, so her original Nazirus is still in place. Fine. Tashma Isha Shanadra ben Nazir, a woman who's not ben Nazir, Frisha as behemta, and she was mafresh a behema. We had this a couple of blot ago. And then her husband's made for the nether. So now what does she do with these animals? We didn't have it a few days ago. We had a similar case. This one's coming up. If he owned the animals, which is usually the case because everything what the woman owns goes to the husband. So so then just it was his animals. So and he mated the nedarim, so the animal just go back and graze in his flock. Or his herd or whatever. But if the animal taka belonged to her, achatas thomas, then you have to let the animal die because it's the chatas part. The other two can the oila and the oil and the shlamim, since they can be brought as nadavas, then that's fine. So chatas thomas visa the bal miyakar, and if you say that the bal uproots it totally, tapik l'chulin. Say that it goes out to chulin because the whole nazirus was a mistake. It's cut up. So therefore, you see that's why you have the problems with the animal. Again, this raya is pashut. If we're saying that there's an issue with the animal, she separated to bring her karbonos. If you're saying that there's an issue with it, even though the husband made for the nether, so that her nazirus, so then why do you have a problem with the animals? This that you have a problem with the animals, it must be because it's Mega's Gaius, so her original Nazir still stands. So when it says no, the Baal is Iker. Some say you take out the word Deloy, since she doesn't need a kapara, it's like a special din of a chatas whose owners died. The din by a chatas that the owner dies is that you can't do anything with it. So this is like that too, since she had a chatas ready to go for being a nazir. Then her husband comes and says, you're no longer a nazir. So therefore it's as if it's an animal that had its owners died. So therefore you can't do anything with it. And we learn out that we know that a chatas, it's a hamlach mishna, that a chatas whose baal dies it has to die too.
Isn't it a lachla mishna? There's like 5 different cases. This is not one of those cases, is it? In the Mishnah, in the Mishnayos of the 5 chatas that you have to let die, is this counted as one of the cases?
I don't know.
It's a local mishna. It's either part of those cases or it's not. And the Mishnah clearly delineates 5 cases.
Right.
How does the Gemara say this is one of those cases if it's not part of the local mishna I brought down in the Mishnah?
I don't know. You saying?
Right, there's 5 cases of chatas that you have to let mesa. You have to let it die.
Correct. I don't know why the Gemara is even saying the Gemiri part. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, it is Gemiri. It's a lochel mishna then.
Right.
But this is not a lochel mishna. So how does that fit?
Well, we're learning it out from that. We're saying it's
you can't learn it out. You can't learn something about lochel mishna.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, it's late already. See, they're dropping like flies. So I guess we'll stop here and we'll continue this. Yeah, Rachamim did say, Rachamim and Naftali said it yesterday. Yes, Rachamim, you deserve due credit. Anyways, everybody should have a fine night. And we'll make it up tomorrow with the shorter daf. Anyways, So I'm saying, good enough. So Akiva, you're saying that it should this should be included in that count.
I think what the Gemara is, I really don't understand this. I've never heard of learning out from Halacha Mishna to something else. Halacha Mishna is this is the din, and that's it. You can't go ahead and create mamatzinus from Halacha Mishna or be medam at other cases. It should be either it was counted as one of the 5. The Mishnah over there says 5 cases. It's either counted as one of those 5, and that's it.
Right.
You can't tell me you learn out from there a similar case to other cases. No, then it will be part of those cases.
But I don't think he's learning it out. He's just saying it's a similar case.
It's more than a similar case. It is a chatas shemesa ba'aleh.
It's I don't know if it's mamish like that. Have kichatas.
Yeah, because there's no difference. There's no practical difference between this and the chatas shemesa ba'aleh.
I don't know, because the Gemara, according to the Taisus, you have to neman to Rebbe Lazar Kfar in order to say the Svar. I don't think it's mamish.
Yeah, we didn't get there yet.
Gechatas.
I didn't go out there.
I don't think it's mamish gechatas. Shemisabala.
I don't know if there's any practical difference. Also, Akiva, I'm wondering, also, Tzvi, I'm wondering if Nega's guy is, we're understanding it, that it chops it in half, let's say at day 15.
Right.
I would call that vertical. How about maybe it means, Nega's guys means horizontal. There's layers to Naziris. There's the Naziris itself that you can't eat certain things. Then there's the different nafkaminas that could come out of it. So you chop layer by layer off. That's what Mega's guys mean. What?
What do you want to say?
Maybe Mega's guys means you chop in the other direction. Like if you want to chop a tree trunk from firewood, you chop it vertically. If you want to make a chopping board, you chop it horizontally. Different ways to chop things. That Mega's guys just means you chopped it. We're understanding now that Mega's guys by Naziris means you chop the Naziris in half days wise.
Right.
At day 15. Maybe it means no, the whole Naziris is Chal. The whole 30 days. But there's different layers to Naziris. There's an afkamina of karbanas, there's an afkamina of tuma, of different afkaminas. So Mega's guys means you chopped off some of those nafkaminas, but the whole 30 days still stands.
I'm not a big enough lamdan to understand that. I'm sorry.
Well, Yaakov, fire, you have to say something Lagabe or Belazar Kvar. The Gemara now, if you hold of, even if you hold of, you have to say, even if you hold Me'aker Okar, that there's still an Indian of some type of Nasiris that was Chalir, which is why this animal has a din Chatas to it. Otherwise, how do you learn up Me'aker Okar and the animal still has din Chatas to it? You have to say there's some type of Nasiris here still. Mitzad the din of Belazar Kvar.
Akiva, you jump to Chaf Beis Aleph. That's tomorrow's daf.
Right. It's Taisus over here.
Yeah, but it comes from tomorrow's daf.
I have to understand this stuff, so I need Taisus. I have to jump. We're all
no, but he's putting it in. The Gemara is not like that.
Stops. You're missing a site here.
Yeah, but it only comes later.
So you have to say that some type of years Lakule Alma up till the 15th day, let's say, whenever you stop it.
Well,
according to Elazar Kfar, at least,
you could split the Kabbalah's Naziris and the Naziris itself. The Kabbalah's
no, because
Naziris
by that time, if you hold Ma'aker Akar in a normal case, you wouldn't have it would be chulin.
Yeah, but I'm saying according to Elazar Kfar, you could say that the Kabbalah's Naziris is the chet, not the Naziris itself, not the kiyum of the Naziris. So you could still say there was a chet. There was a Kabbalah's Naziris. Lemaisa, the chalois of the Naziris was Batul. But she was Mekabel Naziris. That was the chet.
I hear you. So you're saying it's not really the Nazir. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just trying to.
I don't know. I thought it's because she actually went through with the Naziris. There's some type of Naziris. I don't know.
I guess we'll fight that out tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll leave it alone.
Leave it alone, man. Every time I think I have epis of tvisa, not to use the lashon of tonight's stuff, I think and I go through like, forget it. Like, what am I saying over here? I don't. Whatever. Like that's why you're supposed to learn with Chabura, because whatever helps get you a little clearer. But anyways, all right. I gotta take this phone call here.
Akiva.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a diet. When you take a 30-day diet or something,